As the world stands now, at the crucial pinnacle of global warming, it is time to invest in green energy, more so than ever before, to reach those net zero goals and save our planet. Is what I would be saying if we had time, but we don't. Global emissions are still near record high, and energy demands are rising. If we want to reach net zero, we will have to choose a necessary evil. But we don't have the capacity to stall anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, favorable judges, and His Holiness, it is time we go nuclear. First and foremost, let's take a step back and assess the playing field. The 2015 Paris Agreement saw a collective of 195 countries agree to keep global temperatures below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Since then, we have adopted sustainable practices across the world, lulling us into a false sense of security that eventually net zero goals will be met. And you're right, they will be met after the forests have burned and after the world is scorched. I'm not saying sustainable energy is failing us. It's the leading scientists of our world who are arguing that the transition to green energy is not outpacing the rising energy demands. Renewables are not displacing fossil fuels. And with artificial intelligence on the rise, Greenpeace has reported that its energy consumption in the data center market, one that accounts for 40% of electricity in London, is expected to rise. In 2023, it was 17%. And it's going to rise to 47% by 2030. That's 4 years from now. Fossil fuels will be used in an abundance unless an alternative is provided. And ladies and gentlemen, renewables cannot achieve that yet. We must go nuclear. But I'm hearing in the back, gentlemen with the great mustache, why might countries invest in nuclear energy instead of sustainable energy? That's a great question, and I understand your confusion. But aside from the intermittency and storage problem, renewable energy goes further. We often think about renewable energy as politically neutral. It's supposed to be panels on roofs, turbines in oceans. It's clean, it's effective, it's perfect. Flawless. Your argument is not flawless, it's shallow. Transitioning to a green future is not just an economical or environmental problem, it's also a geopolitical one. For example, the batteries required to store these renewable energy sources requires lithium and rare earth metals that are geographically concentrated in exploited regions such as the Congo. And we need time to resolve this. Looking beyond materials, renewable potential is distributed unevenly. Some countries are quite favored, such as the UK, with their high wind potential, giving them a monopoly over energy exports and an unfair leverage in the global market. Other countries, however, aren't as fortunate. They must rely on trade and intercontinental transmission grids that would take decades of cooperation, of infrastructure, decades that we don't have. And there's a dependency problem. If a war, an instability, or a natural disaster were to occur in these supplying countries, the knock-on effects would hit all of those reliant on it. I hate to say this, but look at Iran and how they're closing the Hormuz Straits, which is affecting oil prices across the world, especially for India and China. Nuclear energy means a country can sustainably and safely produce their own energy. So why haven't we transitioned yet? We're scared. I'm scared. I mean, one wrong move and my country, our country, all of our countries face immeasurable consequences. I understand how you're feeling. Many of you in this room grew up under the shadow of Chernobyl, 1986. For my generation, it was Fukushima in 2011. The nuclear question is often met emotionally. We don't understand it and therefore react to it as if it's an existential risk. And that's okay. But nuclear energy was almost 40 years ago. Chernobyl blew up almost 40 years ago to this day. Technology has moved on. It's time we do too. Nuclear energy isn't a permanent solution. Nuclear energy is a temporary stepping stone that buys us the time we need to hit net zero goals and safely transition to renewable energy for our children. So ladies and gentlemen, it is time I tell you how we go nuclear. I'd first like to look at France, who generates 70% of their electricity from nuclear power alone. This took just 15 years. We can take inspiration from their path and meld it into the future of our global electricity. But we won't be using nuclear power plants. No, the future lies with small modular reactors, or SMRs. SMRs are a new technology that's come to us. What are they? Well, they're scaled-down nuclear power plants. They produce 1/3 the energy a normal power plant would, but they have the benefits of improved capital costs that are lower, improved safety, and mass producibility. That's the key one. Taking 3 years instead of 15 to make, meaning we can hit an international scale quicker than ever before. Of course, there is the carbon emissions. And you're probably wondering, how much do they make? Less than a wind farm. A wind farm. Hello? I mean, this is our solution. The UK Rolls-Royce SMR program is currently innovating with an 18-month head start. And they estimate they can produce 1 million homes worth of electricity for 60 years stably. And that's just one SMR. Net zero could be hit as early as mid-2040. Nuclear waste is a key problem, but it's one we can manage. Using closed fuel cycles and reprocessing, we can dial down and reduce the radiational hazards and the volume of waste produced. And using safe geological sites such as Finland's Onkalo and developing reservoirs under the North Irish Sea, we can safely store nuclear waste for millennia without affecting the legacies of our children to come. Of course, as we develop SMR technology, we will begin innovating with more nuclear waste ideas, but these are practices we can already begin doing now. The biggest problem SMRs have is us. All of you. All of me as well. The problem is that we're scared, and I've said that, but we need to move forward with it. And as the unified member of every nation, we can finally make a stand for our future. It starts in households. It starts amongst friends. It starts with the person next to you. It starts in public speaking competitions, where we can shift public perception away from negative stereotypes and towards the benefits of nuclear energy. From there, it's about unifying. It's about advocating, strategically voting, and protesting for pro-nuclear policies, meaning that governments will be forced to reflect the will of their people in their manifestos and policies. Otherwise, they'll be held accountable at the next election. So, if we label SMR programs as green projects, we can finally put them on the stage faster than ever before, bringing in an abundance of investors. The path is ahead of us. The future, although unclear, we can pave it. And if we build that bridge with nuclear energy, when the UK goes nuclear, we'll act as a beacon, and all other countries will follow in suit. So ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, favorable judges, and His Holiness, build it proudly. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.